Appeals court struck down tariffs today, but they'll stay until October's end. Zelensky says no buffer zone will play. Modern warfare rules we can't bend. Secret Service stretched too thin, they say. Kamala's protection had to end. 6 months is all the law will pay. Former VPs to defend. World keeps turning, headlines burning. Every story matters in the end. From the courts to foreign shores, truth and power always contend. In these times we're always learning how the threads of fate can bend. Palestinian leaders blocked at the gate. US visas denied before UN meets. While France pushes recognition's fate, diplomacy walks on shifting streets. Military lawyers might adjudicate immigration cases Trump completes. Domestic life and warfare conflate as presidential power exceeds. World keeps turning, headlines burning. Every story matters in the end. From the courts to foreign shores, truth and power always contend. In these times we're always learning how the threads of fate can bend. Gaza City faces evacuation call. 1 million souls must choose their ground. Indonesian protests fill the hall. Tear gas and water cannons sound. Trump and Kennedy standing tall. Public health boundaries they found. China welcomes Modi through it all, as trade wars shift the global round. From the Thames to the Potomac, every nation writes its song. In the balance of diplomacy, some are right and some are wrong. World keeps turning, headlines burning. In these times we're always learning how the threads of fate can bend.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to another edition of World News Tonight. It's Friday evening, August 29th, 2025, and what a day it's been in global affairs. Let me walk you through the major stories that are shaping our world tonight. Starting with some significant legal news from the United States. A federal appeals court has ruled that many of President Trump's sweeping global tariffs are actually illegal. Now, this is a major blow to the administration's trade policies, but here's the catch. The court is allowing these tariffs to remain in place until mid-October. Why? Well, they're giving the Trump administration time to potentially appeal this decision to the Supreme Court. It's a fascinating legal chess match that could have huge implications for international trade. Speaking of international relations, we're seeing some concerning diplomatic developments. The United States has blocked Palestinian officials from receiving visas to attend next month's UN General Assembly meeting in New York. This comes at a particularly sensitive time, as France is leading international efforts to recognize Palestinian statehood at that very same UN meeting. It's creating quite a diplomatic tension, with allies on different sides of this issue. From Ukraine, President Zelensky is making his position crystal clear. he's completely rejecting any proposals for a buffer zone to end the ongoing war. His reasoning is straightforward. He says those suggesting such zone simply don't understand the realities of modern warfare. It's a stark reminder of how this conflict continues to evolve and challenge traditional diplomatic solutions. In domestic U.S. news, there's an interesting development regarding security protocols. Vice President Kamala Harris has had her Secret Service protection withdrawn, and people are asking why. Well, it turns out the Secret Service is stretched incredibly thin right now, and by law, they're only required to provide 6 months of protection to former vice presidents. It's raising questions about resource allocation and security priorities. Over in the Middle East, Israel is implementing a massive evacuation plan for Gaza City, potentially affecting nearly 1 million people. Israeli military officials are trying to transfer these residents to what's being described as a massive encampment. For the families involved, it's an agonizing decision, weighing the costs and dangers of moving against staying in their homes. Now, here's where things get really interesting from a policy perspective. The Trump administration is reportedly considering having military lawyers work as immigration judges. While no final decision has been made, this proposal reflects the president's increasing use of military personnel in various aspects of domestic governance. It's unprecedented and raising significant questions about the separation of civilian and military authority. In Southeast Asia, we're seeing civil unrest in Indonesia following the death of a taxi driver. Protests have erupted across the country, with police responding using tear gas and water cannons. It's another reminder of how quickly local incidents can spark nationwide movements. And finally, there's an interesting geopolitical development as China welcomes Indian Prime Minister Modi for talks. This is happening against the backdrop of Trump's trade wars, and it appears that China's Xi Jinping is positioning himself as a stable, reliable leader in what he calls a multipolar world order. He's clearly trying to capitalize on concerns about American unpredictability under the current administration. What we're seeing across all these stories is a world in transition, where traditional alliances are being tested, legal boundaries are being pushed, and diplomatic norms are constantly being redefined. From tariff battles to refugee crises, from security protocols to military involvement in civilian affairs, these aren't just isolated incidents. They're all part of a larger reshaping of global power structures and domestic policies. That's your world news update for this Friday evening. Stay informed, stay engaged, and we'll see you back here tomorrow with more developments from around the globe.